Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar. Wow, I didn't know I could do that in VR. My name's Jill, and with me today is me, and
Hello.
we are going to take you through some different aspects of your vertical response account that you either have not ever seen or maybe aren't quite sure what to do with them. Like all of our other webinars, if you have questions, please feel free to type those into the box that you see in the GoToWebinar window, and we'll be happy to answer as many of those as we can at the end of the webinar. Also, one of the questions we get a lot, especially if people log in late, is this being recorded? And the answer is yes, we are recording this. So I usually put the recorded version up on the help site about a week later. So look for this to go up next week, and usually I try to include the slides as well. So if for some reason you don't want to listen to our lovely things that we talk about, you can just look at the slides. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and jump into our webinar. So these are some of the things that we're going to go over today. And as I said, if you do have questions, we will be happy to answer any of those questions at the end. But these are the different parts of the account you may not be currently using, and we're going to talk a little bit about them.
All right. Thanks, Jill. So let's get started with social sharing.
Yeah, actually, we're going to switch here to, here we go, to the account. Okay.
Okay.
We'll come back to this slide in a minute.
So with the social sharing tool within our vertical response application, it allows you basically to extend the life and the reach of your email marketing campaigns. Since if people who are not on your mailing list but do follow you, on Twitter, or Facebook, or LinkedIn, that way they can get the content that you're sending out on email. So that way you can archive it and share it to your followers there. So, like I said, gets the information in front of more people, but it also can help you build your list. If people clicking on the links there and decide to subscribe to the rest of your emails, they can do that there. So here in the application, you can see an email, and at the top, the 3 social sharing tools that we offer. So you can either have people like this article on Facebook, or retweet it, or share it.
And these buttons in your email are for your recipients to share on their social network. So this will be putting your email in front of people who really are unlikely to already be on your mailing list or may not be completely aware of your company or organization. So it definitely helps to extend the life of your email.
Yep, and so let me share you how to enable these links. So under email options, just check a box called social sharing, and there you go. The links will appear.
You can put these in other places in the email, but the top is the best. And this is the wizard, but we also have the same option in the canvas and in the freeform. So let's go take a look at those.
So we're going into the canvas.
And this one, we seem to have them turned off.
There you go. Check the box, social sharing. And once you go into the preview, you will see them appear
as if by magic
at the top.
So again, these will allow your recipients to share the email on their social platforms.
So in order for you to share these, you can also set up your account. You can also set up your account so that you can link your vertical response account to your Facebook or Twitter accounts. So for that, just go under the Account tab, click Social Sharing, and here you can link your account with Twitter. So just authorize the app, log in, etc. And on Facebook as well. Here, as you can see, Jill has already linked her account to her Facebook one.
And the way to share it this way, for you to share it on your social platforms, is on the Send page.
Oh, and I forgot the best part about this. It's free.
That is the best part. So on the send page, you also can link your account. So you can choose to link them from the send page or from the account section, wherever you are. It's the same thing. So if I click on this Twitter link account, it's the exact same screen that we just saw a minute ago. You just have to authorize vertical response, and it'll be all set. With Facebook, you do have the option of doing your personal profile or a page for your company, or both. And then our system just pulls in the subject line, and we create a short hosted URL so people can see your email. And then it gets posted. So again, it's easy for people to share your email.
And just to go back to the slide. So here on the screenshot, you see up top what Jill's status would be when she shares her email. April Online Newsletter, the created URL, and it will say via vertical response social sharing feature. And there you go for social sharing. And speaking of social, let's talk about Roost.
So Roost is something that's new in vertical response. So we recently acquired this company, and what Roost allows you to do is manage posts on your social media accounts. So you can post to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. The great thing about Roost is there is a content library, so you do not have to come up with every single post that you put out there. We do have things that are pulled in from around the web that are based on your industry so that it is going to be relevant. You can also add your own content. So if you have a blog, you can include that. Our system will help you with the posts. You can schedule it to go whenever you want, or our system will give you some dates that you should be sending posts to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Once you do have posts, our system is going to give you some engagement ratings so you can see what posts are getting more attention so that you can continue to give your followers the things that they're most interested in. You can also answer any questions or follow up to your posts through Roost. So that means if somebody posts a question to one of your posts or just says something, you can go in there and answer them. You don't actually have to log directly into Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And the reason this is kind of a good thing is, I don't know about you guys, but if you're on Facebook answering questions, sometimes you might get sucked into some of the posts that your friends are also doing on Facebook, and you suddenly find something that was going to be 10 minutes has become 40 minutes.
That never happens.
Never, ever. So Roost also helps keep you concentrated on just what you need to do for your business and not get sucked into the fun world of social media in general. We have a screenshot here of what a Roost account looks like. This is called My Posts. So these are live posts that have already gone out. You can see what the post was. You can see what the link is. And then you can also see if there are any comments. So that means there were 4 people who responded to this post. And you can come in here and answer those. Also, you can see what the engagement score is. So this one doesn't have any, this one does, which means the people are sharing or liking or something like that your post so that you can see what ones people are more engaged in. And let me show you where you can go get this. So when you're in your VR account, right now on the home page you can see it here because this is kind of new. If you click on the social marketing button, it takes you to a landing page that has a little bit more information about Roost. And then sign up for Roost, which takes you right to the page where you can set up an account. Right now, it is separate from your vertical response account. Like I said, we just acquired this company, but we are working on getting it all integrated into VR. And it's free to set up, so you can go check that out and see how that's going to work for your company or organization for managing your social media posts. I think it's kind of a handy thing, especially if you know how busy everybody gets, especially a small business owner. It gives you the ability to set up posts for a week if you want to, and then you can forget about it for a little bit if you need.
And as you can see on the website, we also have an iOS app for Roost.
We do. We have a mobile app, so you can check out what's going on Roost through your mobile phone.
All right, now events. So With events, with our events tool in vertical response, it allows you to set up an event page pretty quickly. It's free to get started, and you can use our other tools to share your event on social media and through email invitations, track the results, etc. And it will also allow you to sell tickets to these events. Just so you know, all the money and the payments are done through PayPal, so you will need to link your PayPal account to your events account. And
If you're selling tickets. If your
if you're
event
selling
is
tickets,
free, you don't have to link it up, but
exactly. So the money will go straight from the customer to you. Let's go
bonus.
into the application, show you what you can do with it.
So here are some events that have been set up, and you can use this for any kind of event that you want to manage people coming, whether you're selling tickets or you just want to manage the number of people attending. So, if you're doing a fundraiser, if you're having a conference or a trade show, or even if you're managing a company party, you can use the event tool to do that.
So let's go into the Spring Fling party and hit the Edit Event Page button. So here's your event page, and as you can see, there are different sections. Each one can be edited. So up top, you can edit the name of the event, the dates, where the location, etc. Here is the purchase, I guess, section.
The tickets.
The tickets.
Exactly. You can set up tickets here.
There you go. You can add logos. You can add a description of your event. All that good stuff.
Plus, once you've created your event and you have the page live, you can share it through social media so people can find your event. Also, you can send out invites through your vertical response account. So it's actually linked up here. So if you go to the dashboard in your event account, you have invitations that you can send out for your event. And that's actually using the power of your vertical response account. So it makes it easy to track what's going on in VR with your event page. And again, it's free to set up. And so you might want to go check that out and see if there's something you can use it for. And let's go take a look at a slide. I'm getting tired of pausing the thing. So let's just pretend I did. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Google Analytics. Hopefully this isn't something that's really foreign to you. Google Analytics has been around for a while now, and it's been in the VR account for quite some time. But Google Analytics is kind of a cool tool. It allows you to track what's going on your website. Basically, you just add a snippet of code from Google Analytics to your website, and Google will tell you when it's ready to go. It has to propagate through their system, so it won't be active right away, but they'll let you know when it is. Once it is, you set up the domain in your VR account, which I'm going to show you in a second, and your vertical response emails will be tracked as part of the traffic source on Google Analytics. And so this is a screenshot, and that giant blue arrow there is showing you where vertical response email is driving people to the website. And so this is in the traffic sources when you're looking at that in the Google Analytics. They give you all kinds of things, but we do have this integrated so you can see when people are hitting your website. And Google Analytics gives you all kinds of information. It'll show you how often people are there, how long they stay. They break it down by all kinds of information. You can even see specific things about the people who are hitting your website. So they give you a lot of information. But this is specific. What I did was clicked on the link that I had the arrow on last time. So what we're looking at now is only the VR email stats. So it's showing you all the people who are coming and what they're doing and all of that stuff. So let's go take a look at this in the VR account. So in VR, you need to go to the account section and then go to Analytics. And this is where Google Analytics is. So again, this is actually Google's tool, and it's telling you what's happening on your website. So your vertical response email is going to tell you when people open the email and the links that they're clicking on. Once they leave the email, we can't really track them anymore. So Google Analytics kind of picks up where your vertical response account leaves off. So we deliver them to your website, and then you can see what else they do through Google Analytics. So as I said, you do need to set up an account and put their code on your website. Once it's all ready to go, they'll tell you, and then you just need to set up the domain where you put that code. Now, I have it written in here two different ways, www.verticalresponse.com and verticalresponse.com. Your links in your email are what's going to be tracked, so you want to make sure that your domain is pretty high level. You don't want to have HTTP, actually won't let you do that, but you don't want http://www.yourwebsite.com/ all kinds of stuff, because if the link doesn't match what you put in this box, it's not going to be tracked, which is why I have it in here two different ways. But this way, when you go to launch your email, and let's go take a look at that, you will have the option of having Google Analytics tracked through your email. I think the wizard is the one that is all the way to the end. So on the send page, it says Google Analytics. Just check yes. And our default for the tracking is going to be email address. The reason that it's email address is that's the one thing required to be in your mailing list in our system. So everybody will have an email address. But you are free to choose any field from your email. So if you have a specific field you're using for tracking on your Google Analytics, you can certainly use that. These are all the fields in my list. But like I said, everyone's required to have an email address, so we know for sure that you'll have that contained in your list. So usually you just want to turn that on for your default. And then, like I said, we'll be tracking this through the links, and Google Analytics will pick all of that up for you. And now we're going to switch back here. Like I said, I'm getting tired of turning it off, so you guys get to see all the fun.
All right. Paste from Word. Well, one simple thing, try to avoid it when you can. So as you can see, here's a sample email of somebody who actually pasted his text from Word directly into the email. And so when you get the email, here's what appears. As you see, circle in red are some funky looking characters. But if you read, you actually guess that he was actually trying to put an apostrophe in those two cases. The reason these weird characters appear are because they don't all use HTML to format the text. So when anything from Word is used in something rendering HTML, like websites, or in our case, emails, that's when these odd characters show up. So what you can do with our application, just give me 1 second. If you go to draft your email, there's a little button up top that allows you to paste from Word. So what this will do, it will remove all the non-HTML, I guess, formatting, right, and will render it into something that, will save all the special characters that you had been using. So you can either use this application this tool in our application, or you can use any other application such as TextEdit or Notepad. Just pop your Word content in there and then repaste it in your email. Either option works.
Right, a plain text editor. So
exactly.
That's
I was
what
looking for it.
that's what TextEdit is. But it doesn't have to be Word. If it is not a plain text editor, you're going to want to use this. And you see this most often when you're pasting in things that have apostrophes and quotation marks, because in Word they have a direction. And that direction is done by this coding. And so that's why in our example email over here, it's in Yule because there's an apostrophe and that has a direction. It also shows up for ellipses and dashes, but primarily you're going to see it for quotation marks and for apostrophes. Yeah, not good.
All right, and keeping in the text topic, text backup. So in both your Canvas and your freeform editors, there's a text content section, and the purpose of that section is because every email you send through the vertical response application is sent in a format known as multi-part MIME. So in other words, that means that behind the HTML email that you've created, there's also a backup text version that's there for the 3-5% of people on your list to receive. Um, those people, most people won't be seeing this text version, but for those who can't, because they either are using an older email client or some handheld devices such as BlackBerry. I think BlackBerry still only reads
Yeah, I
text.
think so. I think it's mostly BlackBerry.
And some strict mail servers, such as the ones in financial institutions, they want to block all the HTML email that you send.
And even some like government offices or even universities sometimes have really strict mail servers that only let in text versions.
Exactly. So again, it's a nice thing for those people to be able to read your email because you still want to get your content to get to them. So it's a nice little feature. Let me show you in the application real quick how to create a text version.
Also, you need a text version for delivery, just so you know. If you don't have a text version, you could see your email go straight to spam.
And you don't want that.
You don't.
So, so in Wizard, again, it's under email options, and
The magical email options.
and you can just check the box in order to auto-generate a text version that will basically pull all the content from the HTML and plop it into the text version.
But you can also edit this, which is something that we would definitely encourage you to do because you want your text version to be easy to read for your recipients, and you want to make sure that there's some links in there so that they can click on it. And since text is really hard to read when there's nothing breaking it up like images and things, you want to make sure your text version is kind of straight to the point, that you don't have really long stretches of text, so that your recipients can get the info.
Exactly.
And we'll go look at the Canvas and Freeform.
So in Canvas, it is actually right up top. No need to go into email options. So you have the little check box saying generate text version automatically. And to edit your text, just uncheck it and go ahead and reformat it as you please.
Yeah. And we'll go show the Freeform too, just for fun.
Just in case you use it. So similar to Canvas, there's a text version tab up at the top that will allow you to edit it. And that is it for text backup.
Woohoo!
Now, moving on to list segmentation.
So this is one of my favorite topics because I really like our list segmentation tool, and for some reason people have a hard time finding it and don't always use it. So I like to talk about it as much as I possibly can. I've done some webinars specific to list segmentation and testing, which is something that segments are really good for. So if you want to take a look at some of those, you can go take a look at those. They're on our help site under webinars. But you can use the list segmentation tool for a variety of things. So first of all, if you're doing some kind of testing, if you're doing an A/B split test, for example, you can split your list in half or by a specific percent so that you can test different aspects of your email and see how your recipients respond to them. You can also use the list segmentation tool based on things that people are doing. So maybe if they've purchased something or they haven't purchased something, and you can use the segmentation tool to create lists based on responses to your email. So if you are tracking purchases through your email, which is our next topic, you can use the segmentation tool to create lists of people who've purchased from your email. You can also have it set up for specific products or services that you offer. Also based on things like if people are non-responders or if they are highly engaged, if they're opening every email you send and they're clicking on links. So you can use the segmentation tool to do a lot of different things. And let's go take a look at that, since as I said, this is one of my favorite things that nobody knows about. So to access the list segmentation tool, go to our list section, click on segments, and that will bring it up. So I'm going to click on new segment, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm just going to call it that. And then click segment type. And then there are lots of options in here. So first of all, you can segment based on data just in your mailing list. So again, maybe if you have a postal address, you can create lists of people in a certain area. You can invite them to your trade show that you're having if in a certain place. Or you can target certain area codes if you want to, if you have that data in your list. If people are signing up through the opt-in form and they've requested specific information about a product or service that you offer, you can segment based on that. So just about anything in your list. As I said, you can also segment based on responses to your campaign. And I'll show you this in just a second. You can also do a segment based on both of those things, so list members and campaign recipients. And you could also merge your list or merge campaign recipients. So let's go take a look at setting up a segment really quickly here. So you can add a list rule. So basically you'll say, I'm going to take these lists, and then I am going to pull out people who city is equal to, we'll say San Francisco, if only I could spell it. And Daly City. So I could add cities around the Bay. Now you'll notice there's an and here. So this is going to require that people on the list live in both of these cities. Highly unlikely. So you can switch it to or. So I could pull in lists of people who live in cities around the Bay. So people who are in San Francisco or Daly City or Berkeley or Oakland can be pulled into my mailing list as long as I have this in my list. I can also add a campaign rule. So this means I can select emails that I've sent out. And you can do one or you can do all, whatever you want. And for the campaigns, we have campaign data. So you can select people who've opened your email, and you could set up a date range if you wanted to do that. So the people who opened your email over the last 3 months. People who've clicked on a link, and you can even specify which link in your email they're clicking. So again, if you're tracking for maybe downloading a white paper or signing up for an event, you can actually include that data to create a list of people who've done that. Converted, so if you want to include people who've made a purchase through your email, you could do that. Did not open or did not click, so the non-responders did not convert. So these, and then you can also do by what's in your list. So the campaign will allow you to add additional information. And when you're adding these two different types of rules, or if you add another list rule when you're just doing list, you have this option where it can say or, and, or exclude. So you could create an exclusion list as well. So this would be all the people who live in this area except for the people who converted at a certain time or date. That doesn't really make sense. But that's what you could do. You can set up an exclusion based on anything in your mailing list or any kind of responses people have made to your emails. This is a better way of doing a suppression than doing an actual suppression using the segmentation tool. Just excluding people specifically will create a list of people you can mail to instead of blocking people you don't want to mail to. So it's a little bit easier for you to manage and easier on your account. And the next thing I'm going to show you is the ROI calculator, which I just kind of talked about, that you can track purchases through